Welcome to Artificial Intelligence and Ethics. We have a lot to talk about, the good, the bad, and the hopeful, especially with this mind-boggling progress that artificial intelligence has seen in recent years. While we were all distracted or occupied with the pandemic of COVID-19, artificial intelligence made a leap, which is known as the parameter gap. This is here a logarithmic curve, so it's a really big leap. And when we emerged from it on the other side, actually AI turned out to be quite useful, much more useful than many of us have thought. Even us, who've been working in that field for many times, we're really surprised. And that's probably best exemplified by the amazing progress of ChatGPT, which has been the fastest diffusing technology in recorded human history. There's not a thing that was adapted as enthusiastically by humankind as that thing. I use it a lot, I have to say, not only ChatGPT, but different foundational models from different companies, from Google, Claude from Anthropic, Mistral, the European, there's the open source from Facebook, and we will talk more about them. And I have most of them open and work with them and different agents that I developed from them. So for example, when they ask me to give these kind of talks, they often ask, write a biography about Martin Hilbert. So I'm automatically, without thinking about it, turning to one of these machines and I ask him, so who is Martin Hilbert? And ChatGPT tells me, well, he's a researcher, professor in the field of digital technology at the University of Southern California. Which is not true. And it is very delicate. So I'm a professor at the University of California, which is the public university. Southern California is the private university. So this is kind of like if you would confuse Barcelona and Real Madrid in football, or India and Pakistan in cricket. It's confusing literally the Trojans with the Bruins. Like you do not do that. So somebody has to write Sam Altman and let him know like it's not okay. And if you continue here, it says I've been the head of a program in the United Nations Secretariat in New York, which is fantastic because it's also not true, but it gave me a promotion. So yes, I coordinate that program for the United Nations Secretariat in Latin America, but here it promoted me to the national headquarters. So like, I guess that's what they call user friendliness. Okay, so let's try again. Let's train that network, regenerate. And it tells me, okay, now it tells me Martin Hilbert is professor at the University of California. And he has many cool things that he did and which earned him the nickname, the Digital Aristotle. Wow. Did you guys just read that? I really got flabbergasted by that. I mean, I got so, what a charmer, you know? Like, that's why I like talking with it so much. Just stop it, GPT, Digital Aristotle. So I got so excited when I read that I went to the other AI, the ones that produces images, and I asked it what the Digital Aristotle looks like, and I thought maybe an image of mine would come up, and no, that's what the Digital Aristotle looked like. As we all know, it has 3 feet, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so I was thinking, I was like, okay, are you just like, well, what's going on here? And I asked it, like, where do you actually have it from that Martin Hilbert is known as the Digital Aristotle? He told me, well, from all his news articles and interviews and such. And I'm like, well, supposedly I've been involved in that, and I often look at them afterwards. So like, I would have known that. So after I came down from the clouds, I didn't know what to do, so I went to the last resort, like really the last resort. You guys remember Google? You know, this disinformation filter bubble that polarizes our societies and gets our children addicted supposedly, and now we go to Google as the source for truth. Check it out how far we have gotten, right? And I'm telling you, a trillion indexed web pages and not one single result. So I just ask it straight away. I'm like, hey, what's going on? You know, are you telling me the truth? And it told me right away, it told me in my face, no, my task is not to tell you the truth. My task is also not to tell you lies. My task is to sound like a human. And that actually goes very deep, because the father of computer science, Alan Turing, in the 1950s asked himself, how could we ever know if a machine is intelligent? And he said, well, we also cannot really know if a human is intelligent, like we can only talk with them and try to figure out. So if you would chat with something behind a curtain and you cannot distinguish between the human and the machine, then we have to concede that the machine is intelligent, because we assume that all humans are intelligent. And I always thought that, I secretly hoped that we might pass the Turing test maybe in my lifetime. Would be a big honor. That we would pass it in 2023 shocked me. I have to be very honest, I did not see that coming. And many of us who have been in the field for many years did not see that coming. And it goes much further. So technically, even after these tests, indistinguishable from a human. But we have other intelligent measures as well. For example, if you want to study with me here at the University of California, the world's most comprehensive research university, we make you do a test that is known as the SAT. And you can see that humans on average in the SAT get some 65%, the machine gets up to 85%. Right? In both, in writing and reading, and in math, it beats us. Now, if you want to do a PhD with us here, you can see that in writing and in verbal, the machine is, but in advanced mathematics, look here in advanced mathematics. And for example, if you want to graduate with a PhD, as in law, the bar exam, there also it seems humans still have a leg up until 2022, because in 2023 already the machine blew us out of the water in all of it. And even in others, the US medical license exam, Google came up with an AI that if you want to be a primary care physician, humans usually get some 60%, and the machine here gets some 85% in that. So this is entering university, this is entering a PhD, this is graduating with a PhD in law, and this is even practicing medical science as a primary care physician. Now, the average of humankind does not have a PhD from a university in the United States, or is not a lawyer or is a doctor. So we could technically say that these machines are more intelligent than the average of humankind, right? Now you will say, like, no, like these things, they don't measure intelligence. Actually, like SAT doesn't measure. And all good, we can start this discussion. Let's have this discussion. But I'm telling you, since I've been here during the last few years or decade, we've been using these tests to identify the most intelligent ones. We've been destroying lives. We've been picking winners. We've catapulted people out of developing countries into a bright future thanks to these tests of intelligence, which are now suddenly are not tests of okay, so we can start this new discussion, but until last year, until a few years ago, right, that's how we defined intelligence. If you would have told me even a few years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, that in a little bit there will be an extraterrestrial species coming to planet Earth that's more intelligent than the average of humankind, according to these tests, whoa, we would have prepared ourselves and studied that a little bit. Like, what is that actually all about? AI, alien intelligence, as Harari calls it. But we didn't, and now we do have to catch up a little bit. So I'm very glad that you are here, because this revolution is affecting every aspect of modern society. So let's dive into it and see what we can learn about AI and how we can ethically deal with its adoption by society.